Hello, this is going to be a build video for what to do with your Sorcerer. I've been combing through several different combinations of subclassing in the past few days since its launch, and I have come to the conclusion that Sorcerer is in fact let's just say the class that needs the most work because it's suffering the most from uh, having their skill lines buffed enough to where you would choose to pick one of theirs over something else. Well, problem is what if you have a sorcerer? What do you do with it? Well, you can't get rid of all three of these and become something completely different unless you delete your sorcerer and get rid of it altogether. Well, I don't know about you, but I started this game on a sorcerer, and my sorcerer is my main. He has all of the motifs learned, all of the achievements. For the most part, this is the main guy that I used when I came up in the game. So I don't want to delete him. He's my main character and all that, and I don't really want to just necessarily relegate him to just sitting in my house and crafting gear for my other characters. So, what do you do with a sorcerer if you have one and you want to use them for DPS? Well, I have created a build here that can easily hit over 100,000 DPS. I just parsed on the dummy and I hit 98, and I will tell you with an absolutely terrible rotation I did this. I ran out of resources a few times, not really paying attention to what I was doing, and just first parse out the gate hit 98,000. So this is very easily going to hit 100,000 DPS in content. So what am I doing with this? How did I do this? Let's go over the build. So first of all, I call this build the Tarnished Slivers, and you can guess by the name, I'm wearing the Tarnished Nightmare set, which is normally a PvP set, but I tried it out on a Sorcerer because I figured Sorcerers get a buff to uh, physical damage, so why not give it a shot? And I paired it with the Slivers of Null Arca set out of Lucent Citadel. Both of these sets do physical damage. This one is procced off of critical damage, and what do you know? So is Tarnished Nightmare. So they both proc on the same condition. They both do physical damage. One hits in an AoE, the other is single target. So they both do the same thing roughly. One of them hits a little harder, obviously. The physical damage of Null Arca is a much harder hitting, but when you get everything going, these two fire pretty nicely together. So let's go over the build. I have daggers on the front bar here, nerned and charged, pretty normal there. Uh, Physical glyph here and a poison glyph. I should probably change that to shock actually, since of course sorks get extra shock damage, so I may do that. See how it works. An infused maelstrom greatsword on the back bar with a weapon damage glyph. One piece medium slime craw, or excuse me, light. We don't have any light armor pieces down here, so I have to make the helmet light. You don't have to go with slime craw anymore. I just already had this built, so if you have a Zon or another, you just want one line of critical chance from a monster helm is all you're looking for. Or you can make it a shoulder piece if you would rather make the head out of one of your other sets. Null Arca on the body, and then front bar Tarnished Nightmare. I put this on the jewelry and the weapons because this can only proc once every 8 seconds. This you collect stacks before it fires, and I didn't want to have this shut off in terms of getting stacked. So, excuse me, this set. That's my Tarnished Nightmare legs. More on that in a second. You get stacks for 10 seconds on here, but I didn't want to crit on my back bar and not have it count, because this right here is a guaranteed crit that will help proc the set as well. So those are my sets here. I tried out two different things. I initially had this build set up before subclassing as just a stamina sorcerer that hit pretty decently. But I was using the Harpooner's Waiting Kilt, and I completely forgot about this until just yesterday, that the Waiting Kilt is procced by direct damage, which the Arcanist Beam is now direct damage. So the Harpooner's Waiting Kilt may become a little bit more popular in certain builds depending on your situation. I did swap this out and put Tarnished Nightmare legs, and then I tried it with Velothi, and I seemed to get a little bit better results with the Velothi Mythicon. I may try it a little bit more here to give it a little bit more test run, but as of right now, I'm wearing Velothi instead of the Harpooner's Waiting Kilt. Give them a try if you want. Decide for yourself which one you like better. But I felt like the Velothi hit a little better personally. So skill-wise, I'm running Storm Calling. In my opinion, this is probably the best sorcerer line to use for DPS. The Daedric Summoning skill line is really only good if you're going to use pets, and then you're kind of pigeonholed into using pets. Dark Magic is in a lot of trouble. They need a lot of work on that skill line for it to be used in tanking, healing, anything. It's just in a lot of trouble right now. It's too much of a mixture of trying to do three things at once, and it accomplishes nothing at all. So go with the Storm Calling. Probably the best one to use for DPS. I'm not sure. Probably the Daedric Summoning is probably going to be more used for healing and tanking for the use in, the passives in there. This has the better passives for DPS for sure. It's got the weapon damage, which only is going to be in place on my back bar because I don't have a sorcerer skill at all on the front bar. This is a true passive, so you get increased damage at the beginning of the fight while the enemy has a higher health bar. Increased to physical and shock. That's why I picked these two sets on a sorcerer originally, because they do physical damage and it gets 5% more damage on them. And then of course we get the true passive of recovery. This really should be a lot higher than it is. This is really kind of a not good enough, and it really ought to be on the other skill line anyway. This being on the Storm Calling skill line is a little bit odd in my opinion. Recoveries are usually on a tank or a healer skill line. This is why the sorcerer is in such a bad place. The skill lines are just all over the place, and I had a lot of trouble figuring out what to do. I tried to use Lightning Flood, for example, and it was just too clunky to try to shove in and make it work. I guess if you're having trouble with stamina, then you could replace Hurricane with Lightning Flood. Probably going to be a little bit of a DPS drop because this doesn't have as much damage. It does have a synergy, so that may help, but it also only lasts 10 seconds instead of the 20, so you're going to have to babysit that one a lot more. Yeah, so let's get into the other skill line. Obviously, I'm running the dreaded Assassin Herald of the Tome, or what I've come to call Hot Ass, because Herald of the Tome is HOTT and Assassin is self-explanatory there. So we have Incapacitating Strike for the front bar ultimate there to get the passives from the Assassin skill line. I also have slotted Concealed Weapon. This is only here for the Minor Expedition passive. That's buffing what I have slotted on my banner. Relentless Focus is on the back bar. You just want to get the stacks up on this. I don't ever fire this off. I just let it sit there and give me 400 weapon and spell damage for free. Then we have, let's go to the Arcanist skill line. I have Languid Eye on the back bar, and then front bar, Syphilarch's Flail, and Exhausting Fate Carver, and then back bar, Inspired Scholarship. And then obviously we've got the Stampede there to proc the back bar arena weapon. On the banner, I have Shock Glyph on the top that increases direct damage. And then I have the Cavalier's Charge that increases your weapon damage based on the movement speed. That's why I've got this over here slotted for the passive Minor Expedition. And then Minor Heroism on the bottom, so that keeps my ultimate chugging pretty well. And so there's the skills. We've gone over the gear. Let's go over, what do we got here? 64 points into stamina. The Thief Mundus. The food that I am running is not on right now. It dropped off. What a shock. Happens all the time. Lava Foot Soup. That is very important on this build. Stamina is a little rough on sustain. In content, it will be better when you get some recoveries from your healers and things like that, but just on a parse, it's a little difficult. So just keep that in mind. That's the one of the most difficult things with this subclassing is you lose out on resources pretty easily. For potions, I'm running tripots to keep my recoveries up there as high as I possibly can. So let's just see what it looks like when I'm buffed up here. Proc the back bar, pop the potion. So we're sitting at about 6,700 weapon damage there when it gets fully up, and then you can see I'm just about 70% critical chance on this. It's crazy high critical chance. You're going to be critting constantly on this build. So we are sitting at, as you can see, 90% critical damage. So in content with the rest of your group, if you have an EC and an Lucent Echoes in the group, then you're going to bump that up to 116 pretty easily there. So you should be really close to cap, or if they use a Warhorn, however it happens in your group. CP, I have Fighting Finesse, Biting Aura, and Master at Arms, with, of course, Exploiter. And then in the red tree, we have Boundless Vitality, Fortified, Spirit Mastery, and then I have Bloody Renewal. This will also help you in content to sustain, because when you kill stuff, it'll give you back stamina as well. That doesn't typically proc on a dummy, so keep that in mind. But I think that's everything for this video. I've covered just about everything I can think of. Again, this is pretty simple. All you're pretty much going to do when you run your rotation, you get my ultimate back here, pop your potion, get that scholarship going, hit your hurricane, crush in. Front bar is only flailing and beaming. That's it. It's a very simple build. Very easy to do this and hit some super high numbers. I'll just cut it off here as soon as this beam is done. And as you can see, that's 124 without a finished parse, obviously. So this hits really hard if you can keep your rotation up and everything. Give it a try. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for my other videos that I post on my channel. I'll be posting some more unique builds like this. I play around with every class in the game on every role to figure out uh, fun and different ways to do things so that you're not running cookie cutter crap that everybody does. But take a look at my channel, look at my playlists. I have several of them that cover several categories on the game. PvP, crafting, general knowledge about the game, how to farm sets, how to farm different things, how to build healers, all different roles and trials, everything that you can think of. I'm putting it on the channel. So take a look at my playlists. You might have to toggle down a little bit to get to the playlists, but check them out, see what you think. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.